What is going on, everybody, and welcome to another Beta Memoirs. And today we got some more selling. We had another down Monday. We came out firing. We tried to take off, and then everything just came tumbling down due to the fact that we are going over a possible SPX rollover. We got OPEX going on this week. We got a bunch of inflation data coming out this week. There's a lot of stuff that could possibly pull the market down even further. We do have Powell. I believe the decision whether Powell is going to stay or not, it comes out this week as well. It's something I have to look up. But tomorrow, some things to keep in mind. Tomorrow we have the NFIB, Small Business Index, the Customer Pricing Index, but most importantly, we have core CPI tomorrow, which could be most interesting. Like I said, a lot of the inflation stuff, they've already made it well known that they are tapering. It looks like it's in November, but we will have to see. We also have, end of the month, we do have the FOMC meeting. So we should see if at that point they do come out and say we are tapering in November. I think that's what everybody is pretty much waiting for. But being said, the market is still very strong. Even though we sold off today, there was quite a struggle. As you can see, it did try to, a lot of tech tried to push out the gate. Banks were strong today, but ultimately we came essentially tumbling down. There was a big struggle here, but as you can see, we did break above the wedge, looking for a retest, possibly go higher. My thing is I talked about how this might be a diluted pullback because of everything that's going on. Now, we may actually push going into the Fed meeting if FPX rollover is done. This is our first green. Essentially, it wasn't our first green day. We had another red day, 6 red days. So ultimately, saying from this point, we could sell a little bit more tomorrow. What it ultimately could have been today was we're retesting the 20 on the daily. We may actually sell off to the 50 before we get a reversal. One thing I've noticed about the SPX is it has been holding that 50-day moving average. So being said, we still got about a little bit more to sell. But I think ultimately what's going to happen is that once we get official data, official date on when the tapering is going to start, again, not raising rates. They said that multiple times they're not raising rates till later, sometime next year. This is more just buying of assets. So that in itself might pull the market back a little bit more. Once people know, then they might start pricing that in from that point. But once they officially know, I think right now we're just going to kind of hover. Again, SPX rollover, there is no news. You can think about whatever it is right now. It's just a lot of option expiration going on this past week. And SPX rollover last week and this week is what you're seeing. We got quarterly ending. So ultimately what happens, you get the full quarter, and then people try to shift their money around into the new options for the next quarter. So you're getting this a lot of buying and selling SPX. And this is ultimately what you're seeing. There's no particular news that's going to sink us. And this is also why everything is just getting bought up as soon as it dives. And we're not nose diving straight down. Again, there's no specific news that is going to tank us. Tomorrow, CPI, I don't expect anything different. I think what will happen if we do get some bad core inflation data, all that's really going to happen. We already know what's going to happen. We know rates aren't going to be cut. We know assets need to be trimmed back. That's something that has to be done. It doesn't matter what the numbers are pretty much saying at this point. That's what the Fed has alluded to. And so from this point, we may get an hourly candle that dips and then gets bought up, or maybe that hourly candle tomorrow is bad, and so we might actually come down a little bit further and finally hit that 50 EMA is what I'm kind of thinking tomorrow. Again, you have to play it day by day. This is why especially recently, I don't like doing too much watch lists, because you don't know what's going to expect until the morning. A lot can happen pre-market. We could gap down, we could gap up, and then get some bad core CPI data and make everything irrelevant or push us to all-time highs. I mean, Technicals have played out to an extent intraday, but ultimately it almost seems like overnight sessions. There's been some intradays where the pattern doesn't play out at all, and it goes completely opposite of what you're thinking. And so being said, tomorrow, again, core CPI, that's ultimately what we're looking at moving forward. So as far as like a watch list, let's go over QQQ real quick. Again, looking the same. QQQ looks like it's kind of still in a bad spot, although Tesla and Google have been holding really well. We're still in a downward range. It could actually look like we're getting ready for a descending wedge here is what it looks like it could possibly be. If that's the case, I could see another day of selling, maybe even two. I think at least one more day at least, and then see what happens from that point. On Wednesday, I don't think there's more data coming out. Thursday is a pretty big day. Initial jobless claims, retail sales, business inventory, and then Michigan Consumer Sentiment Index on Friday. So being said, we have to see. I think this pullback is temporary. I think a bigger pullback would probably be if we hear something about Powell, if he's not coming back. Going into October, October is another bad month from that point. From that point, we'll have to see, because I don't really see there being anything major going to pull us back unless something comes up. Yes, there's a lot going on with China. China likes to have a temper tantrum, but ultimately we are strong, and it's shown that because every dip has been bought up. It's the first time we've actually had a dip, and the market is trying to dip, but it keeps getting bought up. So we're not dipping very much. So like I said, I believe it's going to be a very diluted correction. I think the correction and crash that everybody talks about is ultimately coming in the new year sometime. I think it'll be early next year, probably around that February, March time period. I can see us correcting pretty heavily at that point. But from that point forward, I don't think I don't see any big correction again, unless there's some black swan that comes out and takes the market. So what I'm looking at tomorrow, again, no major watch list. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff I'm looking at. A lot of stuff really looks good. I'll be honest. Tesla has got a lot of strength today. It hit 709 and it just bottle rocket straight out. I know there's some news that came out, I think, that essentially reversed this, that other automakers in the EV space, that other automakers are essentially using a form of guidance essentially for the autonomous vehicles that Tesla got rid of because they felt like it was essentially training wheels that they didn't need anymore. And you're seeing other companies like your Ford and GM and stuff that are using it. So I think off that news, it kind of just showed how far in advance Tesla was compared to other EVs. And with that also being said, is you have to be aware that the new EV stuff that is being pushed out by the Biden administration does not at all, the tax credits does not at all help Tesla. It's more based towards GM and Ford and those other lagging companies. Tesla did make out on the first of those EV tax credits, I believe it was a couple of years ago. But being said, so they're not really, it's not this whole EV credit thing is really not going to benefit Tesla as much as it could have, because again, it's more based around other different things that are essentially more focused on your GMs and your Fords, and also why Tesla was not invited to the Biden administration when they were talking about EVs. I think it was about a month ago. So being said, Tesla is something I want to watch tomorrow. If it starts gaining strength and the market wants to turn, I think Tesla is about ready to rip from that point. Google, I really like Google. It's shown a lot of strength today. I actually shorted this once they hit the 50 here today. Play the perfect short on this and the SPX, but it's playing solid range. I like this as long as it holds here. Again, I want to see what the market does. I want to see what that core CPI data does tomorrow. It might actually pull this back down. Again, that news on Friday was more than over dramatic here. This selling was not needed. Google is a great company, and they make tons of revenue through ads and stuff. So this whole app development thing, I don't really think is going to be that big of an issue with antitrust. So being said, we'll have to see how this plays out tomorrow, but I like Google tomorrow. UPST today, what a crazy move out of this. I was watching this into the zone, and then I got distracted by the market itself, and I was playing SPX. So I missed this, but I do really like this, and I like the strength that it has. There's still tons of volume in this. I really like this guy. I wanted to actually buy shares in this on a pullback. So I have to see how tomorrow, if this does pull back at all, I wanted to get shares around that 250 mark, but we'll see what happens. We may actually come back up to the 290 and retest. So I want to keep that on watch. Facebook is kind of playing range here. As long as it stays above this 375, I like it there. Playing range and hopefully break out. Apple in itself, just pretty much chopped today. It didn't really do too much. Roblox is actually in support right now on the 20 on the daily. So this actually looks really good tomorrow as long as it holds essentially this 34 mark tomorrow. I can see this going back. I think it's building a solid base here around the 82 mark. It might be the new base moving forward. Again, if we have any kind of major correction, that 82 would be something to watch. If it doesn't break there, I believe it's established a solid base there. PLTR, again, sold off like everything else, popped back fairly well. Square is something I was watching. I missed this today. I wanted to actually come down to 235. I wasn't watching this close enough that I actually didn't realize I hit 237. I would have probably nabbed it up at that point. I did have a buy order at 35. I didn't get that low though. Snap also, I almost had an order on this and I did not, which was silly. Because it played this perfectly, but nonetheless, I'm watching Snap as well. I'm trying to go after those companies that have that cult following. So every time it sells off, that it's picked up very fast. And it's one thing you notice about Tesla. Anytime we have a major sell-off, Tesla will be bought up very quickly and come back very quickly. So that is something to keep in mind for tomorrow. Affirm did sell off and pop back a little bit. I'm just waiting for this to kind of come down. I'm not really playing Affirm. I do really like Affirm, but I wanted to sell off some more. And considering it's still not a big FANG stock, I can see this pulling back a little bit more before it starts rocketing. Amazon holding well as long as it doesn't break this 34.35. Looking to get back into this on the daily. It does look good as well. Looks like it's been retesting the wedge here, so we'll have to see if that plays out tomorrow. Shop did some crazy selling. It's actually, I don't like Shop on the daily. It's getting pinched in between the 20 and the 50. It did come way down though. I did miss it here, but again, I want to see how this plays out because I feel like Shop can pull back a little bit more. I feel like some of these can pull back more. That's why I've been kind of hesitant to take anything. Some of these look pretty bad on the daily. SE looks good. It's still holding that 322 mark as long as it continues to hold that. Airbnb, strong play. It hit the bounce straight off the 20 to 200 and pop right back up. As far as this goes, it really, I think, depends on the market. It's still a higher low. As long as it doesn't break that 155.25 mark, I think we're still good. Just making that higher low, getting ready to go back and hopefully test all-time highs because it hasn't really done much over the past couple months. So we'll have to see there. AMC is one I've been watching. It did hold support here. I wanted it to hold this support. It didn't actually come all the way down to the 48.78 mark, but your 20 EMA is way down here, so it's still got some. They still got some room to pull back and retest, so that's something to watch for AMC. And that is pretty much what I got for you guys. So remember to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Till next time, we'll see you guys later.